and welcome to Chanakya. Our guest today is Professor Lakhvinder Singh from Seoul, South Korea. He is the Director of Peace and Security Studies, Institute of Asia from Seoul, South Korea. He's also a double PhD holder, one for Korean Studies and the other one in International Politics from the JNU University. Welcome, Professor. Thank you for taking time and talking to Chanakya.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be with you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay, sir. So, um, to begin with, I just wanted to start. I know you've done a lot of your studies and research in the India and South Korea ties. So let me start from there. Can you give us some details about the strategic partnership between India and South Korea in the recent past?
Yes, ma'am, you are right. Basically, I'm focused on promoting India-Korea strategic cooperation. So majority of my work is focused only on this area. Uh, Korea as a strategic partner is very new phenomenon. Usually, in the past, we used to look at Korea as a cultural partner, even economic partner. Only recently, after I started writing on Korean strategic issues, Korea became our focus of our strategic partnership. So it's a very new element into our strategic thinking. But so far, we have not properly evolved our strategy towards Korea. Because mostly Indian businessmen as well as Indian politicians look at Korea as an economic opportunity. In India, Korea is known as a economic powerhouse, business powerhouse. So we say, when I say try to say that Korea could be very important player in Indo-Pacific for our strategy to expand into the region, not there are not many takers. It's going to be very difficult for me to convince my fellow scholars or fellow policymakers to look at Korea from different perspective. So I'm doing a lot of groundwork to prepare the situation. Problem is that whenever we talk about strategic cooperation, our policymakers start looking at what we can do together, what we can do together. But they don't understand the strategic geopolitical situation in Korea itself. As you know, because of rise of China, geopolitical situation in Korea is changing very fast, and this, the current status may not continue for long. Status quo may not continue for long. So, but Indian policymakers don't pay much attention to this part. So, the current status is under threat. Korea may not be as it is today. So we have to play very important role to make sure that Korea remain a democratic country, Korea remain a US partner, and that Korea remain a strong, uh, a stable country. Then we could talk about domestic cooperation. But so far,
Sir,
government is not
sorry
paying much
to
attention to this part. Yes, ma'am.
yeah, sorry to cut you in, but from where I'm seeing, Korea is a very close ally of the United States and depends largely on United States for a lot of for a lot of its positions in the Indo-Pacific region. So, do you think in India should move forward first towards Korea, and do you think that would be diplomatically a right step? And one more thing is, you said you're doing a lot of. I'm sure your work is a lot focused on this kind of relationship. But what are the key challenges that is stopping this South Korea and India relationship, other than what I mentioned now as Korea being a very close ally of United States?
Yes, ma'am, you are right. For last 75 years, US has played a very important role in building and stabilizing Korea. So US's role cannot be undermined. But recently, because of many multiple factors, US's position in the region is declining, militarily as well as economically. So US is not able to play that much role as it used to be. US alone itself is not enough to protect and stabilize South Korea. So it means other democracies, Japan, India, other countries have to come to the rescue of South Korea to save Korea from China's naval expansion and fast changing situation in Korea. So there's a core point of my argument, which I'm trying to make for the last 10, 15 years to our policymakers in India, that political situation and geopolitical situation in Korea is not stable, and US is not enough. We have to come to the help of USA and to make sure that Korea remain democracy. As you know, North Korea is expanding very fast into military domain. So we have to make sure that Korea keeps standing against all odds. But so far, this is the biggest challenge. You are talking about challenge. Challenge is that to convince our Indian policymakers that geopolitical situation in the region is not stable, and India needs to step in to play a more active role in stabilizing the situation. Until we don't do that, all the potentials, all the business potentials, all the defense cooperation potential have no meaning. We may sign a big deal with the South Korean firm to have a big cooperation in the defense sector. But what happens if North Korea don't remain democracy? What happens if not China come or take over South Korea? So we have to make sure that South Korea, first thing first. First thing is that our responsibility is that make sure that Korea remain democratic country. Currently, for balance of power is shifting very fast, very, very fast. And USA alone itself is not enough. I strongly believe that the democracies, especially Japan and India and Australia, must join hands to make sure that Korea remain as such.
So,
So,
are you
biggest
telling
challenge-
me India
yes,
should
ma'am.
slowly move towards taking the place of United States when it comes to Korea? Because Korea and United States is a lot more inclined in maintaining the relationship with South Korea, probably to maintain the democratic situation there and other things. So, do you think India should slowly inch towards taking that position?
Yes, that exactly. You got me right. We have to
Mhm.
provide, as you know, Korea is basically economic country, a trading country, and
Mhm.
Korea dependence on China is too much. So we have to provide more economic opportunity to China, sorry, South Korea, so that South Korea's dependence on China is reduced. And we have
Mhm.
to provide more facility to South Korea that South Korea is able to survive economically without the support of China. So we have to take earlier, around 10, 15 years ago, USA was the biggest trading partner, but not anymore. Now China is the biggest trading partner, but China is weaponizing its trade. China is using trade as a weapon to force South Korea to change its foreign policy. So my argument is that India should come into the picture and try to reduce some of the pressure, economic pressure, as well as the military pressure on South Korea. Then we can have a long-term cooperation. Now, what happens is that most of the time, our forces will come to Korea, they start big deals, MOUs are signed, the big project details are signed, but they ignore the fact that Korea is standing on a mountain of sand. Their geopolitical situation will change very fast. All the arguments, all the trade agreements, all the defense cooperation agreements are meaningless if a geopolitical situation changes. So, our policymaker in India should play a more important role in stabilizing situation. So there is a core challenge to me as a scholar, as a leading scholar of India-Korea cooperation. It's my challenge that to convince my fellow countrymen to focus, play more important role in the geopolitical situation than on economic cooperation. And so far they think that so far the argument is that South Korea is strong enough; it can defend itself. But I know everybody know that so China is expanding into China led by North Korea, expanding into South Korean domain too much. Things are getting closer and closer. And we democracies must come forward to help South Korea to stay stronger. But so far, our policymakers are ignoring this challenge, and this is the biggest challenge before me. We have to provide both economic opportunity, defense cooperation opportunity, and other opportunity for South Korea.
Mhm.
Then South
I
Korea will
understand.
remain stable. Then South Korea can think about having economic cooperation with us.
Sure. Thank you, sir, for that. And what are your thoughts on the recent ballistic missile firing by North Korea? There are a lot of talks around it that it is probably closely associated because of the military operations or the recent activities between South Korea and USA, and it's also closely linked to Vice President Kamala Harris' visit to the demilitarized area between North Korea and South Korea. So, how do you see this, sir?
Yes, very good question. Actually, North Korean nuclear missile test should not be seen as standalone. It's part of a process. Whole thing is being coordinated very well by China, Russia, and North Korea. So it's coordinated with the first point that now China, North Korea, Russia are started coordinating the policy. So this test should not be seen standalone. Excellent. So it's a part of a military expansion, military push by anti-democratic forces. That is why this is very serious, very, very serious. These tests are not normal tests, they are high-tech tests. And even North Korea cannot do this kind of test by themselves. It's too costly and too specialized. The missile North Korea tested recently cannot be North Korea alone. It means that technology-wise and financially, somebody is helping North Korea. So my point is this: that South Korea is acting.
Who do you think has interest in helping North
Of
Korea?
course, China, Russia is helping North Korea. Of course, we
Russia.
have to we have to accept it. We have to accept the reality that North Korea is not alone. It should not be seen as a standalone incident.
You're
This
telling
kind,
Russia is helping?
of course,
Hmm.
that is what point we are trying to make. That time to time that when Russia was keeping hand off, gone. Now there's clear indication that North Korea, China, and Russia have joining hands. And this, what's happening in Korean Peninsula is part of a bigger strategy. So that is why I'm trying to tell that democratic forces should also unite. Japan, India, USA, Australia. We have to build a joint comprehensive strategy to maintain peace on Korean Peninsula. And these tests are
But
not normal tests. Yes.
yes, yes, I know. These are really serious, and they are clearly telling the military advancement of North Korea, and clearly, a sign of increasing military tension. But my question is, North Korea hasn't been doing a lot of these kind of missile testing during the earlier days. If I have to be very precise, during the tenure of President Trump. But now, don't you think that Kamala Harris' visit to South Korea has triggered this? Or
Of course,
do
ma'am.
you think it's a trigger, or do you think it's otherwise?
Yes, as you know, during Miss Moon's presidency, President Moon's presidency, peace process was going on. So North Korea was very hopeful that it will get something in return. So it kept its arsenal down. It was not testing. It was not doing. It kept it do not test and nuclear test. So during the peace process, during the Trump administration, there was some hope that things can go peacefully. But now during this administration and during the current president, peace process has collapsed. So that is why I wrote today in my Facebook page that we have to make a specific and focused efforts to build peace. Military deterrence, which was keeping peace on Korean Peninsula, has collapsed. USA military presence in Korea is no more deterring North Korea to do more and more military provocations. So it's not enough to depend on military dominance is not an option anymore. So what we have to do, we have to focus on peace building efforts. And that's why I'm emphasizing that peaceful conflict resolution is very important. That's why I bring Gandhiji into the picture. That what Gandhiji told us is very important for us now. To maintain peace in Korean Peninsula, we have to return to peace building, not only to military building. Military building enough. We have already a lot of weapons in the Korean Peninsula, but it's not affecting North Korea. It's not affecting China. So how much military you can build up? There's limit to military weapon system. Ultimately we have to depend on peace efforts. Peace efforts. So that is why recently, as you know, aircraft carrier visited Korean Peninsula. Does it make any difference to North Korea? No. Recently, they have a joint military exercise. Does it have any effect on North Korea? No. But they keep testing missiles, and they're preparing to have a nuclear weapon. So it means things are turning from bad to worse. It
So
means
what do
it
you?
means it means we have to start peace building efforts. The kind of approach that we can scare away North Korea, that we can deter North Korea by bringing in more and more military weapons, by bringing in more and more military arsenal to Korea, can deter North Korea. I have come to the conclusion that the only option to maintain peace and survive is to build peace building efforts. And that's why we have to come back to Gandhiji. As you know, during Korean War, India played a very, very important role to stop Korean War. But currently, our efforts in Korea are zero. We are doing nothing to stop sliding towards war. So, as a senior most Indian scholar in Korea, it's our responsibility to talk about peace. But so far, our diplomats are not talking in those terms. We are just talking about business opportunity, diplomatic opportunity, cultural opportunity. We are not talking about building peace on Korean Peninsula. Yes,
in
ma'am.
in in my limited knowledge, sir, I don't remember India getting into the way of any country without being asked for help or anything. But that's let's keep that separately. I would like to hear from you, sir. What do you think are the impacts of the Ukraine-Russia war, because you brought in Russia, and you brought in an important point that the person who's having interest is Russia. So, what do you think is the impact of Ukraine-Russia war on the South Asian countries?
Russian war is that's what
But
Russian war have.
I'm talking not about economy. I'm talking about the security architecture, sir.
That's what I'm trying to answer now.
Yeah.
Actually, what happened at Ukraine war has divided China, Russia, and North Korea. Never again. Now they are coordinating policy together. That is why, if something go very wrong in Ukraine, that there's quite a possibility that these three countries can open a second front on Korean Peninsula. That is why North Korea is about becoming more and more bold against South Korea. That is why sanction which was imposed by China, Russia, and USA on North Korea is collapsing. That's why because of Ukraine war, the sanctions are not working anymore. So it means there's no restraint on North Korea. Now North Korea can do anything. So Ukraine war is affecting Korean Peninsula very badly, and very North Korea becoming more and more bold. My personal argument, my personal fear is that if something go wrong in Ukraine and Russia is forced to retreat in Ukraine, they may open second front on Korean Peninsula to consume USA. So they're not going to accept Russia, China as well. Russia will not accept defeat in Ukraine just like that. They will open second front. A second front is going to be Korean Peninsula. That is why we have to prepare. That is why we have to start making peace efforts on Korean Peninsula, because Korean Peninsula directly nuclear weapons are involved. Nuclear weapons are not with Russia, it's with North Korea. North Korea is a very unstable regime, and they can use their temptation to use a nuclear weapon is very strong. Now Russia, you like it or not like it, is world power, is a superpower. So it has a full-fledged control system to use a nuclear weapon. It is a special power. It's a nuclear power for a long time to come. So they have a mechanism in place how to use nuclear weapons. But in case of North Korea is a very new country, nuclear power. So we don't know what is the control mechanism. If there's a war on Korean Peninsula, there's high possibility that nuclear weapon can be used. And fast-changing geopolitical situation in the region can bring the situation to the region very fast. So that's what my point is, that now time has come when we should start building peace efforts. Peace efforts are the only alternative now. We must. Yes, ma'am.
No, and I think India has been reiterating that multiple times, even in the recent UN Council. Our representatives have reiterated that we are for peace between any countries, fighting in the world, and that has been India's stand right from the beginning.
No, ma'am. I think you're misunderstanding. We don't need an invitation. We're talking about peace. We are talking about nuclear war. We're talking about Gandhiji. People of Gandhi is a saint, people of when we talk about peace, we don't need an invitation. When we see this high possibility of a nuclear destruction of the mankind.
No, I didn't say invitation. I said India has been reiterating it. So we've been stating it that we are for peace in the region.
No, we are peace in the region just for now. Just speaking, we are not doing anything. We are not doing anything concrete. We are not doing anything. Like Nehruji was actively participating. A lot of diplomats.
Diplomacy. Don't you think diplomacy is about not taking sides?
Sometimes diplomacy is not what is. I agree with you not taking sides, but sometimes you have to take sides to take things forward. Otherwise, if you are neutral, keep complete neutral.
No, from South Korea perspective, your point is correct. But when it comes to India's interest, right? Don't you think diplomacy is about not taking any sides?
No, we are not taking sides. We are promoting peace. We are not taking sides. And sometimes not taking sides is dangerous. Not taking like a Nehruji took sides. Now, even though we are trying to be neutral, but Nehruji took sides, and we do supported UNO. Even though UNO was a pro-America, but we took sides and we supported UNO. At the same time, it's going to happen now. We have to support peace. It doesn't matter. As long as
I may be wrong, but by Nehruji taking sides, did India was do you think India was able to get its territory back from China when he went to the United States, United Nations?
We don't talk about China.
We are talking about the interest of the nation. So when you take sides, sometimes we have to also probably that's sort of the because the diplomacy of the diplomatic moves by India in the recent days have
That,
been
that's what
totally.
I don't like a complete neutral position. Sometimes you have to take sides and sometimes to have you stay with your friends. So that is why I strongly support that India should strongly support South Korea. I'm a strongly
Mhm.
supporter of South Korea, but at the same time, I'm advocating that we should not ignore North Korea's interest, North Korea's positions, North Korea's genuine survival, economic interest. So we as a country of peace must restore to our peace activities. In South Korea, so far, our too scared. Our diplomats just talk about business cooperation, defense cooperation, just basic minimum. This is not enough because the situation is sliding from bad to worse. Very bad. Be India, because if there's nuclear war, we will be very badly affected. Whole region can burn, and there's no way we can escape the nuclear flames. So content depreciation is not sustainable. Believe me, if situation go bad to worse, it will be very difficult situation for us. So
Mhm.
whatever we can do, whatever we can do to maintain peace and build peace, it should be done. And there's a reason, as you know, there's a reason Gandhi Nehruji sent it's a top policymaker to Korean Peninsula during Korean War. Why? Because he knows that if the situation is not stabilized soon, war can spread to the whole Asia. Same thing can happen again. If the war happened in Korea, it can spread to whole region, and it can just hurt Korea, India also. So when Nehru was active position on Korean War, there was strong strategic reason that war cannot be contained. Once it started, it cannot be contained. That is why we have to start war before it starts. That is why we have to play a very active role. So far, our role is in Korean Peninsula is very limited. We're just talking about business cooperation, defense cooperation. We are not active peacemakers. We have to become active peacemakers. Yes, ma'am.
So I'll have this as my last question to you, sir. You are a great fan of Mahatma Gandhi. So, how do you see about the recent call from Saudi Arabia's World Muslim League calling for the celebration of Gandhi Jayanti? This is something new, right? So, how do you
But
see it?
I'm not. Yes, ma'am. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. If you listen to my recent lecture, which I gave to on Gandhi Jayanti,
I
I
did. Yeah.
said the whole economic system, whole social system, materialistic, corporate-led growth model in the world is collapsing. So Gandhi told us around 75 years ago that current growth model cannot survive, cannot sustain itself for a long time. So if you look at UK, if you look at USA, India, everywhere the system is collapsing. So there's a fundamental problem in the current
No,
economic
no.
model.
What is collapsing in India? I didn't get you.
I'm
I'm
talking
seeing
about
about
economic growth.
UK.
I'm the concentration of wealth. Like in India,
Hmm.
wealth is concentrated in few hands.
No, that's a
That's why.
that's a global issue, right? So
That's
yeah,
what I mean. I'm talking about the global issue.
yeah.
I'm talking about the
Hmm.
global issue that India is trying to be country. India economic model is corporate growth. Yet the few corporates can drop the whole country like Korea did. In Korea, few corporations, Samsung, Hyundai, drop the whole nation. Now we are trying to follow Korean model that few corporations, if stronger, can drop the whole nation. But that in the end uh, can come out with very dangerous consequences. You understand my point?
Hmm.
Now, two, three, like what's happening in India now? Let's go back to India. Now, two, three farms are getting more and more wealth, getting more and more rich. Other corporations are not growing so fast. So,
No,
what
I'm
happens?
I'm specifically asking about how this is related to Saudi Arabia calling for
Yeah,
the
I'm trying
celebration.
to connect to that the whole.
Oh, okay.
So, you listen to me. The whole Saudi Arabia and Muslim world is coming back to Gandhi's region. Reason is that they have come to realize that current growth model is
Hmm.
not sustainable. Current social model is not sustainable. The only alternative is to restore to Gandhi. Gandhi gave us a very sustainable growth model. Now that is why. So I'm not surprised.
What was
Muslims,
the sustainable growth model by Gandhi? I'm not a
Gandhi,
great
Gandhi,
reader of.
Gandhi gave us this small scale industry development. It's
Hmm.
village based planning. He told us that for long term sustainable growth, we have to make sure that small village level growth is possible. That is what the whole world is coming back to this. So that is why I'm not surprised that the Muslim world is coming back to Gandhiji, because they know they have come to realize that what happened in the Western world when family system collapsed, family value collapsed, and economy stopped growing, and wealth concentrated in a few hands. Now the same thing can happen to Western world also. They understand that only alternative is going back to Gandhiji and concentration of power and concentration of wealth. in few hands is very dangerous. Gandhi told us 75 years ago that wealth should not concentrate in few hands. Power should not concentrate in few hands. Too much power in the hands of state is dangerous. So now they understand. That time it looked like that Gandhi don't understand economics, that Gandhi don't understand politics, that Gandhi is just being a saint. But Gandhi was not actually just being a saint. He's just telling us very important thing that few hands, that political power in few hands can destroy everything. So that is why I'm not surprised that the Muslim world is coming back to Gandhiji, because they know the only alternative in the whole world is coming back to Gandhiji, because they have to give power back to the people, back to the common man. So much wealth in the hands of few people is very dangerous. You understand? That is very important for us. So that is why I'm trying to emphasize in South Korea also, we have to focus on Gandhiji. That Gandhi is the only alternative to bring peace on Korean Peninsula. Now, what's happening? I'm sorry to tell you that today I read a statement that USA command gave a statement that we should bring more weapons from USA to territory North Korea. But I know, I gave a statement just now. I gave a statement to Korean media that it will not stop. You can bring as many weapons to South Korea as you want, but North Korea will keep testing new weapons, keep testing new and new missiles. Only alternative, only option to stop North Korea from testing more missiles is to talk about peace, talk about Gandhiji. So that is why Gandhi is the only alternative now, according to my perspective. According to my perspective, that the only option left is work for peace. Peace building is the only option left now.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for sharing your valuable comments with us, and I wish you become the reason for much more strategic relationships between South Korea and India. And thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.